Welcome to the Wednesday episode where we bring you a different segment every week. This week, we're going to go to the gym. But don't mistake this for your leg day. This will not make up for your gains. We are going to be talking about our experiences in the gym, however. This segment will be used in the future for general just interviews, anything just really bro talk related. We're also going to cover many points on health and nutrition and our personal journeys as well. Please enjoy. All right, so jumping right into this, we are going to be talking about our recent experiences in a big box gym. Because I know for both of us, this was actually a pretty big change, and I was definitely feeling all types of way about it. So I just want to go ahead and start with asking you, what was going through your head when we actually went over to Irel's gym?
So from the moment we walked in, it brought flashbacks of when we used to go to Anytime Fitness together back in the day, and also brought memories of when I would go to LA Fitness with other friends of mine. First off, there was a lot of people there.
Oh yeah, there was.
Even though there was a lot of people, it was also 4 times bigger than the gym I'm used to. So there was a lot more equipment, a lot more space to work with. At first it was overwhelming, but then it got better as we walked in and started looking at the different equipment.
So okay. I feel you on that. But here's the question, right? Overall, how'd you feel about the experience?
Oh, I loved it. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Why, did you not love it? Is that what you're trying to say?
I had mixed feelings, to be honest, man. It was definitely a mixed bag because you want to talk about like option overload. Because when we talk about a big box gym, right, and you have a bunch of equipment and you have 4 times the space, what some people don't realize who, maybe don't go too much to like gyms, right? It's not just barbells and weights. You have all kinds of fancy equipment that do very targeted exercises for you, right? With like cable equipment, right? Seeing all the different equipment that was there and how you could hit literally every specific muscle on your body with each piece of equipment that they had to offer. Option overload, man, right off the bat.
That is a great point, because just today when we went to go visit it, there were 2 machines, if you want to call them that stood out to me that I was really confused on the purpose of, because when you looked at it, it had a chair. And then in front of the chair was, it almost brought me memories of being at like a county fair where you have those little targets that you shoot at.
Okay.
And then there was a ball inside of that area.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's an actual target on the inside.
Yeah, and it looks like it's for like basketball. Like you shoot it into a hoop or something, but you just hit the target.
Yeah.
That was so confusing to me. I mean, we just kind of brushed by it, but I didn't even think that would be an exercise people needed to do.
Right.
That you just kind of chuck a ball over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's amazing the type of targeted things that happen. Yeah, that's definitely crazy. Just to show people like the type of equipment. We're not talking about like V squats versus hack squats. We're talking throwing a ball at a target if you want to, right? One of the thoughts that went through my head with this as well was, oh my God, imagine going here and not knowing what you're doing. You could aimlessly walk around, pick a machine, and by the time 45 minutes is up, you did a full body workout.
Yeah, that's a good point. And not even just a full body workout, but for parts of your body you don't even think you're working out.
Oh yeah,
like it could be an ab machine that you're working out like your obliques, or another ab machine where you're working on the top half of your stomach. Like it is an option overload if you don't know what you're doing. That's a big part. But that's another benefit when you have a big box gym like that where they do offer personal trainers. In my gym, since it's a community gym, I don't have personal trainers that can show me the ropes.
In a way though, you don't even need one, because I mean, you know what you're doing. Like we've hit this topic before,
right? When
we talk about personal trainers and things like that. That's exactly what went through my head too. I was like, man, I'd be scared for new people to be in here doing that, because you would be hitting random muscles all the time. And if you just stick to the machines because you don't know barbells, you don't know how to operate, right? And put,
activate the certain muscle that you need to be activating.
Yeah, so you do the safe approach and you take these specialized machines, man, you'd be working out all kinds of weird ass muscles. Right?
Yeah.
So you'll do a machine because it feels good and you're like, I'm going to add this to my routine. And next thing you know, you're going to have like a really strong pinky. And it's going to have no benefit to you whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
So it's like...
A very pronounced right nipple?
Yeah, you need to have... It made me realize you have to know what you're doing when you go to the gym, man. It's crazy. Because even for myself, right, the gyms that I go to, right, the Anytime Fitness, they are a little bit bigger. You do have all of your basic needs there, plus a little, right? Nothing crazy, but just plus a little. It's enough to where a beginner can go in there, get the basics done, and have a little adventure along the way, right? But they can't really steer too far off the path if they really don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I think the gyms that are the size of like the Anytime Fitness are a perfect like beginner gym for people that don't have a community gym, because if they did, I would say that's the best one. But this gym was probably the size of an LA Fitness or bigger than that.
Oh yeah.
Because oh my god, what really stood out to me was the cardio theater, where they literally had a movie theater, and instead of the seats, they just had all this cardio equipment.
Literally, you could, if you want to picture that in your head, it's exactly what it sounds like. Imagine going to the movie theater, walking down the aisle, taking that turn into the main theater. You have the big screen, you got something playing on it.
Yeah, dim lights, big projector.
And then all around you are just treadmills and
ellipticals
like
Stairmasters. It's so absurd. Like, why do you need this?
But then I wanted to spend 45 minutes in there.
Exactly. Then we realized why they needed this, because for the people that are somewhat like us that don't like having random strangers looking at us, we can work out in private, or in just peace, you know.
Oh, it's as dark as a movie theater too.
Yeah, it was so nice.
Don't forget that. There's no lights in there. It's legit a dark movie theater just going.
Yeah. There's enough light so you can see the equipment that you're using, making sure you're pressing the right buttons, but it was very relaxing in the sense of the pressure of having random strangers looking at us was relieved.
It was just great having that type of options. Knowing that those options are available to you is important, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't see a whole lot of people using that theater. I figured there was so many people in the main floor on cardio equipment. Nobody was in the theater. And it just blew my mind. I'm like, man, for somebody who really kind of doesn't appreciate cardio as much as I should, I'd be in there all the time.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that's what I said before. Like, when we were just talking about it, I would spend an entire day there if I could.
Oh, yeah.
Really thinking about it, I can sit on a stationary bike and just pedal and watch a movie.
If you were really going on a hardcore cut, man, trying to get those calories down.
Put on Jurassic Park or something, I'm there all day long. But what we did when we went there, we did more of that full body, high intensity workout. How do you feel about that? Because I know you don't typically shoot for that in a normal workout.
Yeah, I mean...
Or do you?
All right, well, I do a full body workout, right? Right now I'm on a 5x5 program, so I'm focusing on compound movements. But the high intensity part was more of that standard mono-y-mono going on, right? Because I do work out late at night, right? When we talked previously about the benefits of what gym to choose, right? The reason why I'm at Anytime Fitness is I can work out anytime, and I'm one of those weirdos that likes getting my workout in at midnight.
At the middle of the night, yep.
Just the way it is, man. But obviously there's enough people out there like me that keep these types of gyms running. So what happens is when I finally get to go with somebody, like you and me, right? Even me and Irel, when we go, it's cool because we get to have a nice little competition with it. So I like bringing that intensity to the table and really pushing myself extra just for the sake of competitiveness.
Yeah.
In a fun aspect, right? I'm obviously not like, bro, I could bench more than you.
No, we're not being toxic to that extent. Yeah, we're
not trying to hurt ourselves.
Yeah, friendly competition here.
Yeah, that's why we brought out equipment that doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
We brought out the ladder, right? The quick ladder, the box jumps, right? Some simple sandbag squats with a lightweight, not some heavy sandbag. Yeah. And it's all in the spirit of good fun and getting that heart rate up and having a good time.
But with that, we're also making sure that we know what we're doing with the correct form. We're not just picking random things to do with this competitive nature. We're doing things that we know the proper form for, so we don't have that sense of unknown and we're not scared to hurt ourselves while doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because we are being explosive, we're not going to hurt ourselves because we're doing them properly.
Yeah.
That's something I want to emphasize to people that are listening to this.
Because I do think of those teenagers that do that, man. I remember when I was a teenager going to the gym with friends, and it was like, oh man, so if he benches 125 and I can't, what do I need to do that? And for me, it wasn't work out more. For me, it was like, oh, arch your back a little bit, do this, do that, cheat a little, right? So that way I can be on the same level as this guy, right?
Yeah.
But real quick, mentioning that quick ladder, sandbag, jump, right? Now's a great time to mention, you guys should check us out at Podcast TMF on Instagram, because we do actually have a time lapse of that coming up here shortly that Ira was so generous enough to record for everybody. We also got to do a bunch of other fun things, like we mentioned, being able to take advantage of that option overload and come up with just all kinds of combinations of things to really get moving, like, you know, using the power sleds mixed in with some ropes and some kettlebells, and just getting an overall just full body dynamic functional workout.
Yeah.
It's great. When you have the essentials, you don't necessarily get to do that. You get to push some heavy weight, build strength, build muscle, have the foundation to do the functional tasks you need to do. But getting out there and actually doing those functional tasks, man, what a great time.
Yeah. It was really fun. We did reinforce that workout with a lot of positive experiences. So I know we are bound to go back to that gym, even though at first it was kind of hesitant. I know that we're going to go back again. It was pretty fun. But back to the competitive nature to things. I have a personal story that happened to me last week where in my community gym, it's very small compared to that, to the gym that we went to. And the other day I got kind of frustrated because I went to go do my normal workout and there were these three like teenagers, I want to say probably right before 20 years old. And they were just kind of goofing off. So at first I was like, all right, I'm just going to take a break. I'll come back in like half an hour or an hour. And when I came back, they were all over the gym. Like they weren't just all three on the bench press or on the ellipticals. Like they were on all different machines and all switching back and forth. They were like taking control of the gym. They were being very rude, like rambunctious.
Yeah.
And
that high vinegar. Right?
Yeah. And then
so
they were on
they didn't have an actual workout going, right?
No,
like
they were just
structure.
They were just picking random things, like workouts that didn't coincide with each other.
Okay.
And then there was one point where they got onto this, it's almost like a Stairmaster mixed with like an elliptical.
Okay.
So your feet are planted, but it's going up in the motion of a Stairmaster. It's weird. Right. Brand new machine that we got. And they were basically sprinting on it for like 10 seconds at a time and then switching off. Mind you, it's loud. It's a new machine that I just said.
It's a good way to stretch those belts.
Yeah, but you can also hurt yourself and then hurt other people that are near you.
Yeah.
So I just had to be like, guys, what are you doing?
Right.
Like it got out of hand, which is that proper form of the equipment that you're using is very key. Sorry, I just needed to vent that out real quick.
I feel you though, man. And it's true though, because we do need to understand, you know, when you do talk about doing these competitive tasks and doing it properly, right? Like we picked very real things to do, right? We took a bunch of functional exercises that you can mix together, did them, and had the competitive nature that way, right?
Yeah, like when we were doing the sleds, we were able to explode because we're trying to push each other. We're trying to see who can get the sleds to the other side faster.
Yeah. And here's a great advertisement for just the gym in general.
Yeah.
Okay. At first, it's going to be boring because you need to learn proper form. You need to learn techniques. You also need to build some strength because there are just some things that you cannot do until you have a certain level of strength, right? Like obviously if you have a weak lower back, you shouldn't even be deadlifting in the first place. I don't care how light, right? You need to be doing rows. You need to be doing hyperextensions because that way you don't really get out there and mess something up, even if you have the perfect form in the world, right?
Yeah, there's some muscles in your body that you're just not using on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, and once you take control of that, you start using it, and you get through all this boring steps, give it 3 months consistently of going through that boring stage of it, and then I guarantee you can get out there and mix some stuff up and have some fun and enjoy the gym. Like, I realized that with the episode that we published just this Monday, you mentioned how you could overspend your time in the gym. And for some people, that's a crazy concept to be like, oh no, man, 30 minutes in 1 second and I'm packing my bag, I'm out, right? Yeah. And then for you, it's like, man, if I'm not looking at that watch, it's dangerous because I'll be in there for 2 hours.
Yep.
But that's why, because you don't have to do all this boring stuff. You got to get in there and have some fun and still make the gains and the progress that you need to make. So just a quick little shout out to just the gym in general. Give it some time. You're going to learn to love it. And eventually, once you get past the little tests of time, you'll get to have fun with it.
Yeah, once it becomes a staple in your routine, your day-to-day routine, it's like everybody says, it gets kind of corny after a while, but it does become that lifestyle. It's not just that you're trying to gain muscle or you're trying to rehabilitate an injury that you had in the past. You start to enjoy it. I find that it's that stress relief that I need. It's that outlet. It could just be fun if you go with other people. Like if I go with you all the time, that brings me just as much enjoyment as if I were to go alone. But it's because it's become that staple in my routine. And that's why when it does become that routine, it's all because hopefully you've kept that positive mindset or that positive experience that you're associating with the gym. Because if you're just starting out and like you said, it's boring or you have to get over this hump and you're pushing yourself too much or you're not doing the proper form, you're going to be sore. You're going to look at all these things like in a negative way and you're not going to want to go back. But if you keep reinforcing every single time that you go, or you go for a run or you go for the bike ride or even stretching and doing yoga, if you're reinforcing all of that with a positive mindset, you're going to be more apt to go back and redo the exercise, make it a healthier lifestyle. And a big positive experience that we had today is that, yeah, you're bigger than me physically, but my personal best on that hex bar was a lot more than you, boy.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot more. I mean, if you do the math, that's maybe an 8% difference. Not like I did the math or anything.
Yeah, but remember how last time you kind of wanted to one-up me? This is my time to shine.
Well, there you go. Enjoy it. Bask in the light.
I will.
Today's segment is sponsored by BCAAs, otherwise known as branched chain amino acids.
Did you happen to use all the energy from your pre-workout and now after the gym you feel tired? Take some BCAAs.
Do you take 2 scoops of protein powder a day and just can't stomach another one? Take some BCAAs.
BCAAs. Makes your water taste yummy.
And you can find it in any store that smells like sweat.
Now back to the gym.
Quick point though, when you're doing PRs, especially as a beginner, your PRs are going to go up like crazy. Right?
PR is personal record.
Personal records, right? Your one lift max, which eventually you do need to get around to doing to make sure you are pushing the right amount of weight.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to be going in there and going too light on your exercise and really not making the progress you need to. You have to make sure your form's perfect before you ever attempt a 1 rep max. I wouldn't even say a 3 rep max until you have your form down. Just a quick PSA on that. Make sure you stay safe.
Yeah, and when you do go for the personal records, it should be a dedicated day to focus on that.
And you should bring a friend to watch you.
Oh, that's also a good point. But I was going to say, because when I used to shoot for it, I would just implement it into my normal routine. So I would sit there, do my normal workout, and then just keep trying to push myself more. And that's burning myself out.
Come on, man. Yeah, you're already taxed. And then you're just like, you know what? Let me throw in an extra 50 pounds on this.
Yep. And that's where I messed up. But then the days where I do just spend starting heavier and then doing lower amount of reps, I tend to realize that I am getting a lot more weight in.
As I mentioned at the start of this, right, we're kind of just going down random paths here to really just share our experiences in general, right? All kinds of different things. But since we are kind of hitting up beginners more so on this, I'll go ahead and bring up the point, like I just said, about form. One of my pet peeves is watching beginners who have a very thin, lean body mass, very low percentage, right?
Yeah.
Most of their weight is really just their freaking bones.
Yeah, very bony people. I have a couple, in my gym.
And as soon as they get in the gym, they sit there and they do curls.
Yep.
Or they do tricep kickbacks. And not to focus on the arms, right? But the idea is they're focusing on a muscle. As I've come to find through research and things, we know that one of the most predominant exercising staples is the 3-day split, where you do back and bis, chest and tris, and legs and abs, right?
Yeah.
That's like the golden standard 3-day split. And beginners get this idea that that's what they should be doing. And it makes me feel so bad for them, because I also fell for this when I started. And it sets your progress back so far to have such a low lean body mass, which, by the way, the lean body mass is really like we have muscles in our body to start, and that weighs a certain amount. And the more you start weightlifting, the more those muscles are going to weigh because they're going to start growing, right? The lean body mass is what your body weight would be with just bones and muscle, nothing else. So what happens is you don't have any developed muscles whatsoever, and you're going to sit there and focus on one little small thing, like your bicep, right? Or like your quad or something, right? The idea for beginners, and my personal preference that I love to teach for beginners, mind you guys, right? I'm not a coach or anything, but obviously I love getting people to go to the gym with me, especially beginners, because I love watching people improve themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you were pretty much my coach when I started. I came to you and we started going to the gym.
Yeah, and look at it now, man. You're doing hex bar heavier than I am.
I just wanted you to say that again.
I know you did. You got it out of me, but compound movements, man. Compound movements means you're working more than one muscle. You're working on your bench press, your squats. Squats are so important. Your overhead press. All these staples that move your body. Not
Real
just
quick,
this little,
when you say squats, I think it's such a social stigma on why everybody hates leg day. Because when you do it, you feel great. So I don't understand why people don't want to do it. Do you think it's just because society's just like, oh, don't skip leg day because you're not going to want to do it? Or,
I mean, in a way, yes, because you do have to pick a day to kind of like make fun of, right? We always have something we make fun of.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. And even if something is super enjoyable, we always pick one little aspect to kind of just nitpick and make fun of, right? Whether it's serious or not.
Yeah. So do you think it got out of hand and that's why everybody hates leg day?
I guess. I think the whole idea behind it is because
you want to get big.
We appreciate big pecs and biceps and shoulders and like this type of mass from the upper body, right? Because predominantly when you're talking about weightlifting, you're mostly talking about men, right? Being statistical here. Men by nature have a stronger upper body than they do lower body.
Yeah.
So that's why we tend to avoid that lower body. And then we start shitting on leg day that way.
That makes sense. I was just thinking about that for a second because I think it's more of a social stigma than it's just a bad exercise.
Yeah.
Because I love doing it.
What I'd love to see in the comments down below is what is your worst muscle group to work out and why? So please let me know. I'd be interested in finding out. Let's see how many people actually hate leg day.
You know which one mine is? Abs. Core, because I hate the pain in my chichos. My little love handles.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much, but it goes back to that body dysmorphia thing. I think I'm fatter than I am. But every time I do work on them, just that pain. Like, it's good when it's happening, but then afterwards, it's like, it just takes the breath out of me. But I would much rather do legs. That's just personal preference.
For me, right, okay, so when you talk about legs, obviously, anybody that's seen me, right, you've seen pictures or something, a full body picture, I've got some pretty nice legs, man. Even from before I started working out, for some reason, like just genetically, I've always had great legs, right? Yeah. Very muscular. So I've always enjoyed leg day because it's something I could go heavy on. And as a beginner, I felt great being able to see those higher numbers up front.
Yeah.
So I actually have grown to love leg day.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, but the muscle group I hate working the most is the same as yours. It's abs.
Yeah.
But it's for a different reason.
Okay.
And
because you like food and you don't feel like losing the progress the food gave you.
Well, it does involve food, and it's because, all right, I have gotten better with this, but I love to eat.
Of course.
And I'm a little bit not smart to be PC. I eat before I go to the gym. Maybe not directly, but like, I'd be like, okay, yeah, let's have some dinner. And I'll eat like 4 times the normal serving.
Yeah. And
then be like, no, 2 hours is fine. And then I'll wait 2 hours and then go to the gym.
And throw up.
And then I'll do abs and then I'll throw up.
Yeah. I saw where this was going.
So that's why I don't like it because, dinner gets to come back up. And that's not really a good thing.
But I guess that's situational because you do go in the middle of the night after dinner.
See, 2 different reasons for hating on the same muscle group. Perfect.
And it's funny because when we first started, I don't think I focused that much on legs because I used to get made fun of a lot for having the bigger legs because I grew up, I think since I was like 4, playing soccer So my calves and my thighs were so big, and I guess it just didn't look proportional to my body.
Right.
So everybody would always just make fun of me. And whenever I would go to the gym and work out legs, I guess I felt like I didn't need to. So at the beginning, I think I did slack off.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But now that my upper body's kind of gaining some mass, I think I'm kind of evening out now.
That's good. Key takeaway point from that is, if you think you have a great muscle group and you don't need to work on it, stop lying to yourself.
And work on it.
Yeah. Continue to create that balance. Practice great form, because no matter what you're doing, you can get hurt, whether it's heavy, whether it's light. So make sure you do that. Beginner or advanced, just practice your form. Have somebody check you once in a while. It never hurts. And as the social stigma goes, don't skip leg day.
All right, so that's about it for this episode. Thank you everyone who has listened this far. Remember to like and share this video. It would really mean a lot to us. Remember to follow us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page at The Motivating Force. We have an Instagram at podcasttmf. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Now go get